Shackleton's final vessel discovered on the ocean floor, the vessel that renowned Arctic explorer Ernest Shackleton embarked on his last expedition, has been located by wreck hunters. Off the Canadian coast of Newfoundland, the ship Quest has been found on the bottom. On January 5, 1922, Shackleton had a fatal heart attack while attempting to reach the Antarctic on board. Furthermore, Quest has significant historical significance due to its former connection to the explorer, even though it was still in operation until it sank in 1962. At a time when very few people had ventured into the cold tundra of Antarctica, the British-Irish adventurer is renowned for his experiences there. Renowned shipwreck hunter David Mearns, who oversaw the fruitful search effort, stated that his final voyage kind of ended that heroic age of exploration, of polar exploration, certainly in the South. It was what is known as the scientific age after that. Of all the Arctic ships, Quest is unquestionably a legend. The Royal Canadian Geographical Society, RCGS-led team found the ship's wreckage, a 38-meter-long schooner-rigged steamer, in the bottom of the Labrador Sea on Sunday. In 390 meters, 1,280 feet of water, sonar equipment located it. The wreck is nearly vertical on a seafloor worn smooth by icebergs that had passed there at some point in the past. The ship looks to be mostly intact, albeit the main mast is damaged and hanging over the port side. In its final days, Quest was being utilized by Norwegian sealers. Thick sea ice punctured the hull and sent it plunging to the bottom, causing it to sink. Naturally, the irony lies in the fact that Shackleton's Endurance, the vessel he utilized throughout his disastrous Imperial Trans-Antarctic expedition in 1914-1917, suffered the exact same damage. Luckily, the crews of Quest, 1962, and Endurance, 1915, both made it out alive. In fact, a large number of the men who managed to escape the Endurance disaster enlisted using Quest for Shackleton's final polar expedition in 1921-1922. His original intention was to investigate the Arctic, north of Alaska, but, after financial assistance from the Canadian government was withdrawn, the expedition set out south in quest for the Antarctic. Mapping Antarctic islands, gathering specimens and locating potential locations for infrastructure installations, such weather stations, were the new objectives. Sadly, Shackleton was fatally ill from heart failure at the penultimate port of call, before arriving to the White Continent, port of Grytviken in South Georgia, a British overseas territory. He had only been 47 years old. Following his demise, Quest participated in other significant missions, such as the British Arctic Air Route expedition of 1930-1931 that was headed by British explorer Gino Watkins, who also sadly passed away at the age of 25 while exploring Greenland. Before being given to the sealers, Quest had also been used in Arctic rescue operations and had served in the Royal Canadian Navy during World War II. To determine Quest's last resting spot, the members of the RCGS team conducted a thorough investigation. Photographs, documentation from the investigation into her disappearance, navigation records and ship logs were used to compile information. The precise coordinates of the sinking location in the Labrador Sea are being withheld for the time being, but it was estimated to be very accurate. A more thorough assessment will be conducted during a potential second trip to the disaster later this year. We have no intention of touching the wreck just yet. Nobody should disturb it because it is situated within a wildlife protection area already, according to Associate Search Director Antoine Normandin. But we do hope to go back and photograph it with a remotely operated vehicle to really understand its state. The explorer's granddaughter Alexandra Shackleton supported the RCGS survey. I was thrilled, really excited to hear the news. I have relief and happiness and a huge admiration for the members of the team, she stated to BBC News. This, in my opinion, is the final finding in the Shackleton narrative. It brings the loop full. Even over a century after his passing, people are still curious about the adventurer. Each year, hundreds of people pay their respects to the man his sailors simply called the boss at his burial on South Georgia. Shackleton will live forever as one of the greatest explorers of all time, not just because of what he achieved in exploration, but for the way he did it, and the way he looked after his men, stated David Mearns. His story is timeless and will be told again and again, and I'm just one of many disciples who'll keep telling it for as long as I can.